Hi guys! In this video I'm going to show you how to create like a bit of a candle wax dripping effect. It's something that I'd done on a cake and that many people asked how I would do it, that I thought I'd best film it. So I do apologise as I'd started decorating a cake already and then I thought I'd best film it for you all. So I've literally just iced a cake in fondant. So it's a 2-tier one. I don't know if you'll be able to see very well on the video, but I've iced them in separate parts. So I've iced around the side of my cake separate to the top so that I've got sharper edges, but we've got a slight seam around here, around the side, but that's fine because we're going to cover that up with the royal icing when it creates the dripping effect, okay? So I'll set up the camera at a different angle so you can see what I'm doing. So you'll see I've mixed up some royal icing so that it will run off my spoon, but it's still reasonably thick. Now, I cheat and buy royal icing in bags from the supermarket and it just comes in powder form and you just add water to it, okay? But getting the consistency right is the most difficult bit. So what I've done is I've practiced to see how it drips, and all I've done is put a dollop of it on the top of my smoother. You can use anything, I just had this to hand. So at first I'd made it a little bit thick, so you'll see I've put it on and it's kind of dripped, but it hasn't dripped enough. The middle one started to drip a little bit, and then the third one where I've watered it down even more, you'll see is dripping off the end of my smoother. So that's a little bit too runny for what we want. We want something in between. But it's always worth putting it on something first before sticking it on your real cake and seeing how it does. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put that in a piping bag with a nozzle. I think I'll put a number 4 nozzle on. You don't have to have a piping bag. You can just put it on with like a paintbrush in dollops. But we'll do a piping bag because it's a little bit neater. So I've put a little bit in my piping bag. You don't want to overfill your piping bag, otherwise it's all going to come out the end. Now, I've cheated and bought a piping bag rather than making them, but you can make your own and do have a video for how you do that. Now, because it's quite runny, it is going to come out at the end. So try and hold it upright until we're going to use it. And what we're going to do is start on the very edge of our cake. So holding it on the edge, just squeeze a small amount and then release, and then watch to see how far down it drips. So I'm going to do the same again. Obviously, if you want it to come down further, just pipe a little bit more on. And I'm just leaving a little gap. If you put them too close together, they will just run into each other. And what we're going to do is put a layer all over first, and then we can come back once it's dried and then pipe more on in between. So try and get some smaller, some a little bit larger. If you're going onto the top, that's fine, don't worry, just make sure you've tried to go on the top the same amount on each one. So you'll see these will now start to drip. So if you think some want to be longer than others, just go back over, put a little bit more on, it might give you like a double drip. So I've given it about 10 minutes so that it just starts to get a hard crust on the outside of the icing, so that we can then start piping some more on in between. I'm just going to make these a little bit smaller now so that they don't drip as far down. You can, if you don't want them to drip as far, just thicken up your icing a little bit by adding a bit more icing sugar powder to the mix. And again, you're just going to wait for this to start to drip. And you can keep going over it as many times as you like, but just give it a good 10 minutes or so in between each layer so that you know how far down it's going to drip. So you see some of mine have dripped really far down and sort of gathered on the icing, on the cake below even, which is fine. I don't mind it doing that, but I don't want to do it too much. So again, going around everywhere, and then I'm going to leave that for another 10 minutes and see what it looks like. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to decorate this one, I think, with some roses. So I'll put up a picture of that finished for you. So I've chosen to put some gum paste roses on mine. Now, I don't unfortunately have a YouTube video for the roses, however I do have an online premium paid for tutorial with these So I'll put the link in the description box below the video so that you can have a look at that if you want to purchase it. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.